2024 has been the year of exclusives, and not in exclusives in that there's been only console exclusives, but it's been a year of the discussion of exclusivity going away from Xbox. Obviously, that has been the main one and the main company that has dominated the discussion. But you also have to look at PlayStation as well and what they have done, which was bringing more games to PC more than they have had before. And they're continuously bringing their first-party games to PC. Their older games that were already out, already locked to the PlayStation 5 before this whole PC strategy came to fruition, are now coming out on PC. So you'd have to ask, in the future, will there be day and date PlayStation PC games? We know that is the case here for Xbox, and console exclusivity specifically for Xbox is essentially going away. If you're somebody who only cared about the plastic box, you're somebody who only cares about the console wars, you are going to be upset about Xbox's new strategy. I personally don't care, as Xbox is where I like to play. I've never really cared too much about people not playing games that I actually have never really cared at all. Even before I got into this whole content creation lifestyle, I never really was in the console wars. I never really cared if my friends had the other plastic box. I just really wanted everything. And Xbox has been my plastic box that I play on the most, but other people playing those games doesn't matter to me. We have more, I guess, information, but not really new information about the strategy of Xbox via Jez Corden. But first of all, we have to take a look at 2025, because 2024, I think, is a phenomenal year for Xbox games from their first party studios. But it is, I would say, that buffer year where they fully 100% hit their stride in terms of all of the acquisitions working out for them. When you acquire major companies like Bethesda and ABK, it will take a couple of years potentially to get these things rolling. And we are really seeing that start right now in 2024. It's been very good, but 2025 is going to be absolutely insane. You take a look at the lineup after the Game Awards announcement with the Outer Worlds 2. We have Outer Worlds 2, Avowed, South of Midnight, Doom, The Dark Ages, and Fable. All of these games right now scheduled for 2025. And there's apparently more games that are going to be coming out. And then you can't forget the yearly release of Call of Duty. So you add that into that mix every single year, and the amount of games that they can have, it's just crazy. 2025, if all of these games do hit, is going to be insane. Now, when it comes to the Outer Worlds 2, that was one that we got announced at the Game Awards. And at the Game Awards, they said coming to PlayStation 5 as well. It's not that surprising because the first one was on PlayStation, and it is, I guess, technically one of those legacy IPs where they're not going to be cutting off that user base and fan base of the game that were previously playing the older one. But what is kind of interesting here, it's funny. It definitely shows the difference in the ideologies, and I guess the difference of power each one of these companies have in terms of their overall player base. And one of the things I always talk about is the fact that PlayStation, they have just that player base in other parts of the world that Xbox does not have. Xbox is bigger in North America, and that's just a fact. I mean, you look at Asia, they don't really compete too much, so they have to get their games on the places where those parts of the world are playing them. And PlayStation here, for the Outer Worlds 2 trailer, they cut out all of the other platforms that the game is available. Now, you have people out there saying they're making it look like it is an exclusive and all that stuff, but it still does here in the bottom left corner say Xbox Game Studios. Now, I don't know if that would still trick people, because you would see Xbox Game Studios. Obviously, you would clue in and think, okay, this is an Xbox game. I'm sure it's on Xbox as well. At the end of the day, PlayStation, they're advertising the Outer Worlds 2 on their channel, and they're cutting out all of the logos for the other platforms that it is on. And then you take a look here at what Xbox did put out, and they put out the same ad, but it says Game Pass, Series XS, Steam, PlayStation 5, and it still also has that Xbox Game Studios logo. The big winner here, though, for the Xbox players, and the big difference, is that Game Pass, day and date Game Pass. People always forget that that is like the differentiating factor when it comes to these games for where people are going to end up playing them, at least on day one. I mean, once these games go on sale, it changes it a bit. Like because they get cut pretty fast in price, right? You're looking at modern gaming. Buying games day one is kind of a waste if you can control the FOMO, because games drop in price really fast these days. A month or two, you're saving like $20-$30. But day one, a lot of people don't want to go out there and spend $70, or depending on where you live, $80-$90. And they'll see it's on Game Pass, and they'll just go ahead and subscribe, even if it's for a month, to play that particular game that is there in the service. So that's just kind of an interesting thing there when it comes to the actual advertising. The difference that in Xbox, they don't care. I mean, they're having no say in how PlayStation is doing this, and they're not telling them to put the Xbox logo, which I don't know if they can or not. But when you go to the PlayStation YouTube channel, that is what you see. But the question you have to ask yourself next is, will there ever be just a solely console exclusive game on Xbox? The answer is no. I mean, this isn't new news. This isn't something that is mind-blowing. It seems like every time this news does come out, people think it's brand new news, but the reality of the situation is console exclusives for Xbox were gone way even before their games were being put onto PlayStation, as they were still putting their games on PC. That was the new strategy for a long time now. I think pretty much since they announced Game Pass and everything, and they had the Xbox Play Anywhere now. So back in like 2017, they were moving in that direction. It's just weird now, all of these years later, people still think it is some sort of new piece of news. But we have this going around, and this is via Jez Corden. So this is all started because of something that he tweeted out. And it says, Xbox Insider says the age of Xbox console exclusives is over. A reliable insider has recently claimed the era of Xbox having permanent console exclusives is over. I mean, the era has been gone for going on, what is this, 7 years now that we're hitting this, 2017 all the way now through to 2024, 2025. So going on 8 years that this has been over when they've been putting their games on PC. Just in response to people talking about games going over potentially to PlayStation as well. This is his tweet. He says, "Sir, this is a Wendy's in response to the tweets at him saying, stop being coy. There's a reason you're not posting about Outer Worlds 2 and you know it. You're not stupid, Jez. Xbox hardware is in deep, deep trouble. All signs and sales reports point to it, and it's only going to get worse because Microsoft never gave their new studios a chance." This person responds and says, "I just want to know why Xbox wants to kneecap games like Hellblade 2, Avowed, and South of Midnight. What's the point of keeping those exclusive and allowing Indiana Jones, Doom, and Outer Worlds 2 to be multi-plat? Let them free all of Xbox. Why this schizo strategy?" And just as they don't, they're all coming to PlayStation over time. And in response here, seems to be a strategy they're telegraphing these days, but oddly enough, one that they don't want to explicitly come out and say. And the reasoning he is saying why they won't come out and say that, it is kind of a good point here. Why aren't they just saying, yeah, these games are coming to PlayStation? I think it's more than just what he says here, but he says it's because they don't want to just mandate on teams that aren't set up yet for multi-platform simultaneous development. But the era of Xbox having permanent console exclusives is over. And again, this era has been over for a very long time. And I guess you could define console exclusives as not including PC, which to me makes absolutely no sense. It is a different platform. It is not a console. You're putting your games there. Console exclusivity has been done for a while, but that makes sense about them not wanting to handicap the teams or mess them up because they're not ready for the simultaneous development for multi-platform. But the other thing Xbox must be thinking about is the brand reputation or the brand hit that it could potentially have if they were to come out and just make an announcement, have another one of those business strategy updates and saying all of our games will be going over to PlayStation. I mean, back in February, the outrage online when the rumors had started about Starfield, which ironically is still not on PlayStation yet. It may, but it's still not there. That's what started all the craziness online. When those rumors came out, they actually had to respond to them with a business update, go out there and do a live stream podcast type of thing and update their business strategy for the consumers. So if they just come out randomly and say all the games are going to PlayStation 5, it'll still cause a ton of craziness online, a ton of talk about this, even though we know that this is the strategy that they have been saying for a long time. So console exclusivity has been gone for a while. There's just more information here from Jez that is saying that. But at the end of the day, does any of this matter beyond the console wars, the online discourse, all of that stuff? Because they're businesses. They're trying to make as much money as possible. You can go out there and bitch and complain about the strategy that they are doing. But if they're raking in all of the cash, they're going to continue to do what they do. And I think going forward for Xbox as an overall business, the strategy of getting their Xbox everywhere is going to pay off, and it is paying off. If you're looking at the overall financial reports, the amount of money that they're making, the amount of users that they have, all of that stuff, it is definitely paying off, and PlayStation is going in that direction more and more. We see it. They're just taking longer to get there. They do have that luxury of having all of the console sales that they do have across the entire world and being dominant everywhere. Obviously, Nintendo as well has something to say, especially in Japan. And you're hearing about the rumors of PlayStation potentially wanting to make a handheld to compete. And I think that is to compete with the Nintendo Switch in Japan. The Xbox will have their handheld as well, where you're going to get access to all of your Xbox stuff. And then you also have now Steam trying to jump into the mix. And I think Steam is beating Xbox to the punch when it comes to the handhelds with the licensing of their UI. If they license out the Steam UI to all of these different manufacturers, that is going to be a major competitor for Xbox with their handheld, even potentially more so than the PlayStation handheld, because Xbox is so integrated with PC. They should get out there and put their console UI onto as many handhelds as possible, as well as having their own Xbox One and their Xbox hardware to give people that option. But we'll see what happens. Console exclusivities have been dead for a long time now. This isn't anything new. If you've been a fan of the Xbox brand, or if you've just been a fan of gaming and you've been following it now all the way since when they announced Xbox Play Anywhere, they announced Game Pass, that was the end of it. When their games moved over to PC, that means they weren't exclusive to the console anymore. So I'm always confused why this stuff brings up brand new conversations or makes it as like it is something new. Yes, games are going to be coming to PS5, but again, we've already known that throughout this entire year when they made that announcement back in February. But on the video there, guys, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you're new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.